It's not a fruit!
No, it's shards of metal everywhere.
Oh dear, monkey. You join me on my trip cycling solo from the UK to Australia, where I'll be wild camping my way along on a budget of about $10 a day. My first 3 months of cycling had taken me over the Alps, through the Balkans and Turkey, and now it was time to take on Asia. So, with the impassable Central Asian winter coming on and the tricky visa situation in the region, I was forced to pack my bike Solange into a box and skip over Iran and Pakistan, as planned, to keep to my 1-year deadline for the trip. So I landed in Delhi and it was time to assemble Solange and hit the road, which would take me all the way to the Indonesian coast and Australia. But now, for the start at least, we wouldn't be alone. And so, it's time for the special guest of today's episode. Give a hug, me old man! Good to see you.
Hello, mate.
So my dad had come out to join me, armed with his own set of gear. Arguably too much gear. Why did you need a rake alarm and a horn?
Want to hear it?
Yeah.
You want to hear my horn?
He's got a... So we put our bikes back together and hit the road, with Dad's goal being Kathmandu, 1 month cycle away. Now Delhi just kind of explodes out at you as soon as you arrive, with a richness and a vibrance you can't really experience anywhere else. With the colours, the history, the traffic and the sheer amount of people everywhere though, Dad may have been thrown slightly into the deep end. By the way, if you thought you could get away from the mopeds by walking on the pavement, come on man, get a grip. This is crazy.
Sorry. I'm gonna...
So we're on the road. I was a bit worried about Dad, but he's handling it alright. So it was definitely a baptism of fire into India's road system, with pollution, cows, monkeys, and even camels to deal with. Dad's horn was essential too, since people seem to use their ears rather than their eyes to tell where the other traffic is. The Indian roads wouldn't be so bad if they didn't have a constant stream of traffic going in the opposite direction. You constantly have to dodge it, as well as all the buses bellowing their horns behind it. Ooh. Amongst the madness of the roads, we had loads of awesome experiences and ate amazing food and saw loads of beautiful sights and temples, including the amazing Taj Mahal. There it is! First view of the Taj! Oh my goodness! We also occasionally found some quiet back roads with just cows for company for some much needed peace and quiet. Who's having a good time? Woo-hoo! Compared to Turkey, the dogs are absolutely just docile. They're just chilling at the side of the road, whereas I'd have, I don't know, 5 an hour chase me in Turkey. Lots of people were friendly, smiley and curious about what we were doing, and we took a lot of selfies with people. But there were also a lot of cultural norms we had to get used to, including different ideas about friendliness and politeness, big gender inequality in the region, and differences in personal space. And I know people want selfies and stuff, but I'm just done with some of them. Just grabbing me, like grabbing my head, moving it, pulling my body, kissing me, saying I love you. It's not enjoyable. Because I have light hair, it's just crazy. So Uttar Pradesh, the Indian state we were in, is one of the country's poorest and most densely populated states, which made wild camping pretty much impossible. It's located on the vast flat plains around the Ganges River, and from there we crossed into Nepal, which is also flat in the south, but hills and lots more forests soon began to appear as we neared the Himalayas. There are tigers in this forest here. Dad, how scared are you on a scale of 1 to men?
Not scared.
He's not scared. Let's hope tigers don't like biscuits, because I have a lot of biscuits. Eventually we came to the famous Chitwan National Park and found 2 guides, Pusan and Musera, from the Taru tribal group, who would hike with us into the park, first by wooden canoe and then on foot, armed with just bamboo poles to protect against rhinos, elephants and tigers. There's our second Rhino. Rhino's just there. And there's another one over there. This guy. He's bashing his stick as loud as he can, and the rhino's just staring him out. Good work. Good work. We also just saw a sloth bear, just a little black bear running off into the forest. So I'm a happy bunny. So our rest day's over. It was finally time to turn off the busy highway and head up into the mountains to get to Kathmandu, a moment I'd been waiting for. I'm so happy right now! Oh, this is what it's all about. And that is where we're going, up in the mountains. An announcement. Stuart, Thighs of Steel Hollis, has got off and walked. I repeat, that is the kind of steepness we're talking. Only Ben, Thighs of Steel Jr. remains. Disco Stu, how are you feeling?
Knackered.
How steep are these hills on a scale of 1 to Ben?
These are the steepest hills that I've ever seen in my entire life.
How are you feeling about conquering the next bit with ease?
I'm not confident, I'll be honest with you. It's so steep now, my neck is cricking trying to see the top, and it's hot. And I didn't sleep very well last night because Ben made me sleep in a freezing cold tent.
I've only got one thing to say to that.
And all we've had is biscuits.
The only way is up, baby. What's the next line? I don't know.
A few moments later.
Disco Stu made it with his Leicester shirt to the top, the biggest mountain you'll probably ever cycle up. And look at these snow-capped peaks in the distance. The only problem is that there's another hill today, but let's not tell him about that.
Don't mention another hill to me.
The Nepalese roads did absolutely destroy us, but eventually, a bit later than planned, we made it over the top and into the Kathmandu Valley, where we descended down into Kathmandu, tired but proud of ourselves. Dad, I've got one thing to say to you. We made it! Delhi to Kathmandu.
And without Ben, I couldn't have done it. I honestly could not have done any of it.
Now you've done it, please tell me honestly, is the bicycle the best way to travel? Because I question it all the time.
No, it's a stupid thing to do. Bicycles are slow, dirty, it's hard work.
We have experienced exceptional effort we've had to put in. We've got ourselves into situations which have been quite dire, in like not having anywhere to stay or anything to eat. But we have smelt the countries we've been to. We have said hello to thousands of people. We have seen, glimpsed details which we can never really share. Everyone laughing at us, in Nepal just laughing at us because what a stupid thing to do. Why are these white people on bicycle? And this has been a really, really tough journey. But what we've got back has been 10 times as much as what we've put in.
So my dad headed home in Kathmandu and I carried on alone, eastwards out of Nepal. Now, as with India, 80% of Nepal's population is Hindu, but there's also a lot of Buddhist influence, including monasteries, shrines called stupas, and prayer wheels which are spun as a way of reciting Buddhist mantras. There's also the influence of Tibetan culture like Momo dumplings, and a lot of Tibetan refugees from the annexation of Tibet. I then headed out of Nepal and would spend the next month crossing India's remote northeast, which is squeezed between Bangladesh, Bhutan and Myanmar, and is made up of 8 states, each with a really diverse ethnic makeup, with the area acting as a kind of gateway between the Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia. So I first visited the hill station of Darjeeling in the state of Assam, both famous for producing some of the world's best tea. So we have the first flush, which is the lightest, second flush, autumn, which is the strongest, green tea, oolong and white tea. So the reason tea is grown on these ridiculously steep slopes, when you're thinking why would they plant them in these inaccessible locations, is because tea, originally from China, needs quite a large temperature range. It needs to be quite hot in the days and pretty chilly in the nights, and in Darjeeling I can tell you it does get cold in the nights. And apparently black tea, green tea and other types are just all made from the same leaf. So it's in those lush tea fields below us where they're grown, but then the processing is what turns it into the tea types we know and love. As I cycled down from the hills, a family welcomed me in to practice puja, a Hindu worship ritual, to commemorate one of their family members that had died, and also told me how their life working in the tea factories earns just $2 a day.
And we always believe that it will keep us safe, evil spirits, and we are successful in life. Actually, they work for 8 hours a day, and 172 rupees Indian currency is the wages, daily wages. You can use one.
Thank you. When I came to the big city of Guwahati, I contacted a local family through an online community for cyclists, and not only did they agree to host me, but I was even able to get in touch with another guy who was cycling through the region, and we managed to team up. So here we have an Indian kitchen with Nami. So you first make these, which are with flour, oil, and then you stick it in the oil, and the magic happens. They just swell up into the puree. Oh, they look awesome. I can't wait to try them. Introducing Martin from France. Anything to say to the faithful viewers at home?
Yeah, I think it's great that we met together. I'm very curious of how it's going to work.
Me too. Excellent. We formed the dream team for the next few weeks and headed south to visit the remote and insanely beautiful state of Meghalaya, the official wettest place on earth. Now, we were there in their dry season, but I wouldn't exactly call it dry. We've come to Seven Sisters Falls, and as you can see, it's a beautiful view. The falls are just over there, and yeah, looking very nice this time of year. Yeah. C'est bon?
It's quite amazing.
C'est bon, ça?
C'est bon.
Ouais.
Très très bon. Oui, c'est bon.
Our real goal was to find some of the state's living bridges, which are grown over centuries by locals, by training fig tree roots to grow over their valleys. Good morning, viewers. After an excellent stay at Cherrapunji, seeing those amazing route bridges yesterday, we're off, and instead of going back the way we came like we thought we were going to have to, Martin has discussed with the locals, and apparently there's a brand new road which was finished like 3 days ago that half the locals don't know about, and so we're going to try it. So this new road turned out not to really exist, but taking this route turned out to be one of the best bad decisions we ever made. Crossing rivers, getting stuck in rainforest mud on a road not on any of our maps, but just really falling in love with this part of the world and the people in it. After getting battered by the jungle roads for a while longer, we managed to get a lift for ourselves and our bikes on top of a jeep passing by to get back on track. I'm on a truck, and it's the most beautiful view in the world! Now, Christmas was around the corner at this point, so once we made it back onto our maps, me and Martin had to part ways, as he headed east and I used my newfound hitchhiking skills to catch lifts through the night to just make it to the Christian state of Nagaland in time for Christmas Eve, despite some elephants blocking the road for a while. There's an elephant! Watch out! Back up! Back up! I found an outdoor church and had a good old Christmas sing-along in the Naga language before heading on to the final state in India, Manipur. Before leaving on the trip, this is the place I was most worried about. They've got a bit of civil unrest and some insurgency, terrorist stuff going on. So yeah, the UK government advises against all travel to Manipur. I've since been reassured but there is a huge military presence around here. I can deal with the army trucks going past. I've had that in quite a lot of the countries, but these ones have guys sitting on the top with the big kind of Gatling gun machine gun, all cloaked up in balaclavas with little round goggles. As well, sometimes you just glance up into the hills at the side of the road and you just catch sight of a armoured figure like camouflaged into the woods just looking down at you. So I've been told do not wild camp in the forests here. Just was a little bit cautious, but let's go have a look, see what it's like. As with everywhere I visited, obviously I found super kind people. In fact, on my very last days in India, as the year drew to a close, I was welcomed in by an amazing family and gently forced to compete in the village talent show. Next time, me and my bike Solange attempt to cross the tricky border into Myanmar to explore areas closed to foreigners until just months before. So join us next time on The Soul Cycle.